If I were to define dominance in basketball, I think I would say something along the lines of the art of being unstoppable. If that is the case, then I can comfortably say Nikola Jokic is the most dominant center I have ever watched in real time. The last center to even approach his level of dominance is the man most people call the most dominant player of all time. I do too. I just wasn't able to see him in his prime. Shaquille O'Neal. Comparing the two's games is the definition of apples versus oranges. Shaquille O'Neal was an athletic freak, a literal force of nature condensed down into a 7'2", 350+ pound bowling ball of a frame. Jokic, on the other hand, is a technical machine. Perhaps the most skilled center of all time, a man who combines ball handling and shot creation with the most elite passing vision we've ever seen from the 5 position. Oh, and on top of that, he can back you under the rim and hit you with any pirouette pump fake you want. They are both wildly different players, about as polar opposite as you can get, even down to the personalities. They do share a couple similarities though, a couple skills that put them over the top and made them the undisputed best players in the league: their post game and finishing. And it's because of these two similarities, as well as the events that have taken place over the past few years, that I've come to the conclusion that there may be a third similarity between these two players: how you stop them. You're confused. How can you stop the unstoppable, I hear you asking? Good. If you enjoyed this content, like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think the Nuggets' next steps should be. Share the video with a friend, and welcome to the Sweatshop. You got clickbaited. I'm sorry I had to get you here, but don't click off. I promise this video is going to be informative. But we can't get around the fact that I just lied to you. There was no way to stop prime Shaquille O'Neal. He was a literal titan walking amongst the mortal populace, a little boy stepping on bugs in his backyard. During his three-peat in LA from 99 to 02, a period in time which he became just the second player ever to win 3 finals MVPs in a row, in those same finals, Shaquille O'Neal averaged 36 points per game, 15 rebounds per game, and 3 blocks. He was a monster, and opposing teams used everything they had in their arsenal to try and slay him. None of it worked. It got to the point where, out of necessity, teams had to carry as many 7-footers as possible on their roster.
Bro, you were not going in 02. You were not fucking with Shaq, bro. They changed how you had to construct your roster. You had to have 2 or 3 bigs just for fucking fouls. Not like good bigs. We just need bigs there. We need big bodies.
Teams had to carry multiple 7-footers on their roster just to foul Shaq. Not even stop him, just foul him. It clearly didn't work. Just look at his numbers. There wasn't anyone stopping this man in this period of time. So if that's the case, why'd I even bring up this Shaq stopper game plan? Because I think it's the way to stop Jokic. There have been 2 times in the past half decade that I have seen the full strength Denver Nuggets look vulnerable. This year against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and 4 years ago against the Los Angeles Lakers in the bubble. We always kind of overlooked this series because the Nuggets were on the come up, it was the bubble, and they were a wildly different team. Jeremy Grant was starting over MPJ. Paul Millsap was starting in place of Aaron Gordon. Gary Harris was filling the KCP role. They were completely different, really, but their top 2 guys were the same, and their overall roster was fairly similar. Different as far as the names for sure, but the roles of the non-star players on the 2020 Denver Nuggets are similar to the roles being filled by the non-star players on the 2024 Denver Nuggets. Most importantly for this comparison though, look at the teams that gave them trouble. The 2020 Los Angeles Lakers and the 2024 Minnesota Timberwolves are essentially the same teams. Like the exact same. Both teams have 4 players that can put on Jamal Murray. Both teams' superstar shot creators can take advantage of the Nuggets' 2 smaller guards with their patented bully ball style of play. Both teams have a steady-handed point guard that can do some offensive orchestration every now and then. Both teams' second star player is one of the best bigs in the league who's elite at posting up and stretching the floor, and because they are elite at stretching the floor, it allows both teams to play the game with Twin Towers lineups. And both teams' Twin Towers lineups are supplemented by the fact that they both have a third big off the bench that they are more than comfortable playing starter level minutes. Like, these teams are remarkably similar, and they both were, as I said before, the only 2 teams we've ever seen make the full strength Denver Nuggets look beatable. So this leads one to ask, is this the way to stop them? And this is where I have to correct myself. I don't think this roster construction is the way to stop Jokic specifically. I think this roster construction is the way to stop this iteration of the Nuggets as a whole, and it all stems from that last point I made about the Twin Towers lineup. It seems like the most effective way to beat the Nuggets is to be able to play two bigs at the same time. Now, these two bigs can't just be any two bigs. If the Nuggets were facing the Clippers, Ty Lue couldn't just throw out Ivica Zubac and Mason Plumlee and think that's gonna work. No, the two bigs have to fit certain archetypes on offense and on defense. Offensively, one of your bigs can be the traditional 5, but the other big has to be able to effectively play the 4 position. It doesn't make any sense to have a starting lineup that can neutralize the Nuggets offense if it's just going to limit your offense in turn. One of your bigs needs to be able to space the floor, attack closeouts, make the correct pass, and post up when needed, like a traditional 4. On defense though, one of your bigs needs to be able to be at least a decent matchup for Jokic. He's got to be strong and have a lot of length so he can bother Jokic a little bit in the post, and then your other big man has to be an athletic and rangy shot blocker. But you can't just have those two bigs, no. The guys you surround them with have to in turn also be good, rangy, big defenders themselves. By having this personnel on the court at the same time, it allows you to have two bigs that can guard Jokic. One of them, preferably the stronger non-rim protector, can be tasked with trying their best to stop Jokic in the post. And then when they inevitably fail and give up some ground, you got your other rim protector big cheating off their assignment, just looking to clog the paint further and force Jokic to pass it out or shoot a shot with two good defenders contesting him. Then if Jokic does pass it out, your other 3 long, rangy, and athletic defenders can X out and rotate and make sure that any shot the Nuggets end up getting off of the Jokic kickout is fairly contested. You combine that with trying to get Jamal Murray to switch onto your bully ball handler on the offensive end and trying to put Jokic in as many actions as possible to try and tire him out, and you get a game plan I like to call Arkham Asylum, because we put in the Joker in jail. Sounded a lot better in my head. So does that mean this Twin Tower setup is back? Does this mean every team should be constructed around two bigs? No, I don't think so. I mean, if you can, sure, go ahead. In the NBA and in life, bigger is always better. If you've got someone with a center body that can do everything a wing player can do, then you obviously want them on the court. The issue is that's just not very realistic for most teams because these types of players just don't grow on trees. Finding a good rim protector is hard enough, but then you gotta find someone else that can shoot, pass, post up, drive to the hoop, and is a good interior and perimeter defender. If I'm being very generous, I can count maybe 6 of those in the league right now. Chet Holmgren, Victor Wembanyama, Jaren Jackson Jr., Cat, Miles Turner, and AD. And I guess Naz Reid too. And AD probably shouldn't even count given he can't shoot anymore, but I'm probably missing one, so yeah, let's say 6. 6 players total in the league fit the description of the players you need for the system to work. If you've got these players, you should definitely give this obsolete archetype a chance. We're gonna go over this in a video in the near future, but I as a Thunder fan have been contemplating what to do this offseason for a minute now. And I think a really interesting game plan for us to pursue would be to acquire a big body center that can be a good body to throw at Jokic, and then have Chet be the roaming rim protector that can cheat off their man and clog the paint. Heck, they got pretty lucky with the draft lottery. If one of the 2 most talked about bigs in the draft, outside of Alexander Sarr, obviously, he isn't going to be there, but if Edey falls to them, or they get really lucky and Klingon falls to them, and they like either prospect or at least like them more than the rest of the crop in this mid-ass draft, then I wouldn't be mad at them drafting either and at least try sliding them next to Chet in the starting lineup, then have J-Dub at the 3, Lou at the 2, SGA at the 1, and get this bum-ass Josh Giddey out of the starting lineup, please. But for most of the teams in the league, it's just impossible for them to get the requisite personnel to make this type of play style effective, which is the main reason why the Nuggets will always be at the top of the league for the foreseeable future, barring serious injury to their 2 main guys. And even if you do have this proper game plan, as I pointed out, it doesn't guarantee you beat them. The Nuggets took the Timberwolves to 7 games. They lost, but it was pretty darn close. But still, the only time we've seen this team look beatable has been with this type of lineup. And I will say, the Celtics are able to put out a lineup with Al Horford at the 4 and Kristaps at the 5 that should be able to at least approximate something like this. Just something to think about. With that, thank you ladies and gentlemen for watching this video all the way through. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think the Nuggets should do this offseason or how you feel about their postseason run, etc. Share this video with a friend, and as always, stay sweaty, ladies and gentlemen.